And we feel, while we will not be able to do many domains work, for example, who is entitled for social security system, we cannot figure out. Who is entitled for a maternity benefit, we do not know. However, all these domains have a common problem, which is an ID problem, who you are. So essentially, we are going to tackle that problem, not really tackling the domain problem. So therefore, we feel that identity is a common challenge in all these programs, issue rations, bank accounts, NREGA, and we are just solving that common problem. So we are doing nothing more, nothing less than creating a basic ID infrastructure in this country. Now, these are some of the basic features which we have of the unique ID. First of all, we are not giving any cards. And when we say cards, cards have various meanings. Cards have a smart card, Costa cards, all those kinds of. We are basically saying we are not giving any cards. Though what we are giving a letter, it has a thick letter with lamination, and probably we can also replace it with plastic card. But the idea is we are not so much focused on the security in the document, because if you have an online ID, which means the veracity of the document, whether the document has been forged or not, can be verified just by submitting the contents of the document to our server, which means we don't have to build a lot of security and safety and intelligence in the document itself. So we are not giving any card, we are just giving numbers. We also have decided deliberately that we will give random numbers. So the numbers will not tell anything about a person. It's a pan-India identity, so we don't want it to be fragmented by states, caste, regions, or whatever, so it's a random number. We are not collecting any information more than what is required for the purpose of maintaining identity. So the basic identity information are name, address, gender, age, that's all. And that's all what we are collecting. We are providing this identity to all residents. We are not bringing in the citizenship question here. Anybody who is a valid resident of India is entitled for this identity. And we are not collecting this identity data directly ourselves. We are doing it through the state government, through the banking institutions and other things. So therefore, we are providing flexibility to our partners, whom we call registrars, to collect other additional data if they want for their own purpose. For example, a state government would like to know the ration card number, for other NREGA job card number, which they can do. We are also saying that this is basic ID. Therefore, the basic ID does not entitle you to any right, title, or benefits. I mean, obviously, if you are entitled for an old age pension, you have to be an old person and a BPL person. Now, we are not collecting your BPL status. We may collect your age. So therefore, this ID itself does not entitle you for anything. We are ensuring uniqueness through biometric attributes, which I'll come to a little later. We are creating the database afresh. And as I said, we are creating authentication infrastructure across the country so that one is able to authenticate and verify his or her identity online. And we are ensuring security and safety, privacy, because we are not allowing any download from our database, which means you cannot submit a number to me and say whose number it is. We will not give you that information. So essentially, we will say yes or no. So you give me a number, give me a name, and I'll say yes, it matches, or it doesn't match. Now, this is broadly I wanted to explain to you as to how we issue this unique ID. So we are using biometric attributes of a person as a tool to ensure uniqueness. Nature has provided that each person's fingerprint, signatures are different. Each person's iris is different. So we are taking these two attributes, all 10 fingerprints and iris, and actually subjecting it to a computer deduplication, as we call it, matching, computer matching. And only when this attribute of the newly arrived person does not match with anyone, with the attribute of any other person who is already there in a database, then we issue a number. Otherwise, we say, friend, you are already there with us. Maybe a person has registered himself with name X. Now he is himself registering again with name Y. We will say, no, your name does not make a difference. Your biometric attributes are the same, and therefore we will reject him. So it's like this, that there is a tank of existing IDs, and there is a new person who comes. His biometrics are matched with everybody in this tank, Everybody is biometric in this string, and only when he is not matched, we insert his record also, and then issue a number. Now, this seems a very simple thing, but it's extremely complex, because count the number of comparisons or matches which this will have to do when the numbers grow large. For example, if you have 40 crore people in this tank and you have 1 million people coming over, then the number of comparisons required in a day will be 40 crores multiplied by 1 million, which is a very huge number. Now, the other part, which is the authentication, is essentially through any mobile device, you could send your number and other attributes like name, address, or fingerprints, or whatever, and to us, and we'll match this, and we'll say yes or no, which means yes, this is the person who he claims to be, or no, he's not the person. So essentially, you put your number, you put your name, send it, and if the name and number belong to the same person, they match, we'll say yes. And if you put a number, a name, and a fingerprint, they all belong to the same person, we'll say yes, otherwise we'll say no. So that way, you will be able to verify your ID anytime, anywhere, and that's a very powerful platform which you have created, which we are going to create, which will actually become a platform for delivery of a large number of services. So this is, as I said, these are the basic fields which we collect, which is name, address, gender, date of birth, photo, and fingerprints. Now, this is, as I said, biometric attributes of a person are essentially the deduplicators or the uniqueness symbols. So this is an iris image. Now, this iris image doesn't, it's a beautiful image, but doesn't seem to say much. But this pattern in this iris actually can be converted into a 1024-bit number. And each iris can be converted into 2 such numbers. And because this is a random pattern, the probability that any other person in the world will also have the same pattern, and pattern of that complexity, is more or less 0. So we will be able to say this is the iris of that person, and if this person comes again, we will be able to match, saying that no, he's already there. So that's the way we do the deduplication. Similarly, the fingerprint minutiae, fingerprint also, the image can be translated into some kind of template, which we call minutiae, and that is a matrix, what is x, y, theta, the position you put, and that's how it gives uniqueness. So essentially, what's happening is that the basic demographic details plus the biometric features, they together get processed in our backend in our data center, and we issue a number. Now, as I said, the way we are enrolling people is we are not setting shops to enroll people. We are engaging with our partners, who are the state governments. The state governments in turn have hired enrollment agencies, which are essentially private agencies, private entities, who are having the manpower and the machines to do the enrollment, and they are paying them on an outcome basis. We pay to these states on an outcome basis. We pay 50 rupees, and they pay to the enrollment agencies, again on an outcome basis, on the basis of how much, whatever rates have been discovered in the process. So essentially, you have UIDI, you have registrars, you have enrolling agencies, and finally the resident. And this is how we have the system of registrars, which is state governments, LIC, oil marketing companies, income tax departments, banks. These are the registrars. Now, this program was launched on 29th of September 2010 in a village called Temli in Maharashtra by our Prime Minister and by the chairperson of UPA. Since then, we have done about 50 million enrollments thus far, which is, of course, a mere 4% of the Indian population. But then you should remember that it's not even 1 year since we are doing it. And there are some states who have come on board and who are doing enrollments. We've generated about 19 million Aadhars, and you can go to our site and see the real-time generation of Aadhars. It's like that population clock, where every day you sort of log on and you will find how many Aadhars have been generated, state-wise, district-wise, whatever, dice and slice you want to do of that data. Now, 19 million Aadhars have been generated. We are having about 400,000 enrollments packet arrival per day, and we hope that it will touch 1 million per day since October. We have about 20,000 trained operators, 8,000 kits. This will be the largest database of biometrics in the world. The largest database, the second largest, will be less than 1/10 its size. So it's actually an order of magnitude larger than the largest database in the world. This is the basic enrollment kit. In fact, you have one of the stalls here which shows what the basic enrollment kit looks like. This is the usual setups. You are doing it in the remote rural areas, so therefore there are all kind of challenges. The old persons, the iris is a challenge. Fingerprint, this is how we capture fingerprints, 4, 4, and 2. So that's a slap scanner as it is known. This is on 31st March, we just did 4.2 million. So you see, 4.2 million we did from October to March, it was 6 months. Now, 4.2 to 19 million is we have done from April, May, June, July, 4 months. So now, in fact, we are doing 4.2 million per month in some sense, and we'll do much, much more. We have a target of about 30 million per month, which is, this is the enrollment rising, the figures are rising from month to month, and this figures is also available on our website, portal of our website. Maybe Srikanth, who is going to talk about, maybe he'll also give a little bit more idea on how this happens. This is the setup of a center. Training and awareness. We are very clear to say that Aadhaar is merely an enabler. It's not that just by getting Aadhaar you will get some benefits. So that's an important message we are conveying. It's a platform on which you can build various services. Now here's a small boy who is getting enrolled and difficult. So these are some of the challenges. This old lady, her fingerprints are worn out. So taking her fingerprint minutiae is a challenge again. We are reaching out to the marginalized, the poor. See, one more issue is, to whom is this Aadhaar important? I've got 5 IDs in my pocket. So why do I need Aadhaar? But there's a person who doesn't have any ID, and therefore he needs Aadhaar most. So therefore, we are beginning from the most difficult areas. We are reaching out the marginalized first. And therefore, you must have seen there are no VIP enrollments which we do. Generally not. I mean, of course, VIP enrollments do get done, but that's not our focus. Our focus is to reach to the most rural location and most difficult location. This is a transgender being enrolled. Scale is enormous. Demand is enormous. This is the letter. Then, of course, we have had ties with India Post, whereby a letter is being delivered to each resident along with acknowledgement. So it's not some kind of inland lifafa. It's a speed post letter. For the first time in this country, a letter is going to every resident. That letter also, and a speed post letter is going to every resident of this country. So it's a huge logistic issue. We feel that Aadhaar, like roads, other things, is a soft infrastructure. And this soft infrastructure can provide a service delivery platform. We have a universal ID valid all over India. We have platform for multiple applications. It can link to bank account and mobile services. As you know, Aadhaar has already been declared as sufficient